What's going on, guys? Justin here from JT Sports Cards here with episode number 3 of Fantasy Football Flipping. I'm super excited for the NFL season to start. It's really just around the corner here, which means that fantasy football drafts are really in full swing. Personally, my drafts or my main league that I play in, we are going to be drafting the Sunday right before the season starts. Usually we don't necessarily wait that long, but this year with the season just being, with COVID really surrounding everything, we just kind of want to wait as long as we can in case something weird happens. It's just been a weird year. So yeah, that's right around the corner, finishing up some kind of last minute preparations for that. And yeah, I'm excited to get into more of these episodes, particularly when the season starts and adding some guys that are good waiver wire targets or guys that I think might pop off during the beginning of the year, and some kind of buy low candidates. You're always going to have some big names that are going to start slow, and those are always going to be good potential values that you can potentially trade for a very low price. So episode number 3, so this one is going to be over Joe Mixon, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. So this is going to be a standard Donruss Optic 2017 rookie card. Again, in terms of the big products for football, I would say Optic is going to be right up there with some of the bigger ones. So Prism, Optic, Contenders, and Select, I would say are the most collectible ones in my opinion. And the Prism and the Prism Silvers, those are going to be the more, I would say, sought after ones. But as you see a lot with basketball nowadays, you have Optic rookies and rated rookies getting more attention because collectors are seeing that those should be more valuable and should be in more demand. And a lot of people like the design of these cards more than the prisms. So I personally do as well. So yeah, I think Optic cards in general, rated rookies, I think they're good buys, especially if you can get silvers or different color variations and whatnot. So in terms of Joe Mixon, right now, according to 4for4, his ADP, his average draft position is running back number 7. And he's coming off the board at the 11th pick of the first round in 12-team leagues. So, some people might think that's a little bit high for Mixon. To me, in terms of still having value, I would say that's about as high as I want him to go. But I definitely think he can outperform that draft position. The bottom line is that Mixon is a very talented running back. If you saw him in college with Oklahoma, he was an absolute beast, and really the story of his NFL career so far is just that he's been on terrible teams and running behind terrible offensive lines. So, obviously the Bengals were terrible last year because they ended up getting the first pick in the draft. But if you look at his 2 years in the league, he's definitely put up numbers. His rookie year, he ran for 1,168 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns, 296 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. And then last year, on a terrible Bengals team, he rushed for 1,137 yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, 287 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. So pretty consistent numbers for his first 2 years. But I think I'm not alone in thinking that Mixon is really going to have a better year this year. And it really is going to stem from a better team situation. So I am a huge fan of Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is going to be a very, very good quarterback. He's going to add some flair to this offense that you just didn't really see with Andy Dalton. He's not a terrible quarterback, but he definitely, it just kind of fell apart for him, and they needed a change for sure in Cincinnati. So I think with a better passing game, teams are going to have to focus on that. And it's not just going to be stack the box and let's stop Joe Mixon. So he's going to have more lanes and more opportunities to perform. In terms of who's behind him, you have Giovanni Bernard. The worry there, he is a little bit more of a pass-catching back. So it does seem like he's taken some receiving work away from Mixon. But really, if you look at Mixon's time at Oklahoma in college, he put up numbers receiving. So I definitely think Mixon has the potential to see an uptick in his receiving stats, and I would expect that this year as well. So yeah, all in all, I just think Mixon is set up to be a really good running back. If you see the guys he's going right around, so RB8 right behind him is Nick Chubb. RB9 is Miles Sanders, who I think is going to have a good year this year. And then he's right behind, you have Derrick Henry at RB6, Dalvin Cook at RB5. So all these running backs are kind of tightly packed. If you ask me, of all those guys I mentioned, I think I would have Joe Mixon over all those guys. I mean, Derrick Henry, I just am not super convinced he's going to perform as well as he did last year. I mean, I just think it was a little bit of a special year for the Titans. And you look at Dalvin Cook, I mean, he's kind of having a little bit of a holdout situation. I'm not even sure if he's going to play. And I think even as high as RB4, Alvin Kamara, I think Mixon has the potential to even outperform him. I really think Mixon could have a top 4 running back season this year. So that's why I said at the ADP, if it stays where it is right now, I think Mixon's a good buy. If it goes any higher, I'm not sure it's quite worth it anymore. But yeah, I'm definitely high on Mixon this year. In terms of a negative for Mixon, speaking of contract holdouts, there has been some reports with Mixon trying to redo a deal, and he has said before in the press that he is willing to sit out the season if they don't work out a contract, or an updated one, I should say. So that is something to watch for, and there's a good reason to wait to draft late. But that's just it's a yearly issue with a lot of running backs, and I don't necessarily fault the running backs for doing that. I mean, it's financially it's very smart for them, but as a person that plays fantasy, it makes it very difficult and frustrating to draft running backs early when you have those question marks surrounding the player. So anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think about Joe Mixon, his fantasy outlook this year. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Bengals. I really think they're gonna make some noise this year. I'm super excited to see what Joe Burrow can do in this offense this year. Yeah, anyways, let me know, who do you guys think are good buys in terms of running backs this year? And would you rather take a guy like a Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb over Joe Mixon? Just leave a comment down below. And if you like the video, just make sure you leave a like, subscribe. We'll have more of these episodes coming up, as well as some different content as well for you guys, and hopefully some more breaks coming in the future. But with that, take care, guys.